I just spent 7 days and $3,247 in Qatar, and I'm not sure I'd do it again. Let me explain why this brutally honest review might save you from making the same mistakes I did. Okay, so here's the deal. I've made 7 videos about Qatar. I explored Banana Island, tested the $50 versus $500 desert safari, spent 48 hours at the Pearl, compared a $30 hostel to a $600 luxury hotel, made 10 expensive mistakes, discovered Souq Waqif at night, and wandered through Villaggio Mall. And after all of that, spending over $3,000 and a full week here, I have some thoughts. Not the polished diplomatic travel blogger thoughts, the real ones, the ones that might make Qatar Tourism Board uncomfortable. So let's get into it. First, let me tell you what I spent, because when people ask, is Qatar worth it? The real question is Qatar worth this much money? 7 days in Qatar cost me $3,247. Here's the breakdown. Hotels, $1,320. I stayed in mid-range places, not luxury, not hostels, just normal 3 to 4 star hotels. Food, $890. And that's with me eating at local spots half the time, not tourist restaurants for every meal. Transportation, $285. This includes that stupid $73 taxi from the airport on day 1, plus metro, Ubers, and the boat to Banana Island. Activities, $612. Desert safari, Banana Island day pass, museum entries, and some other experiences. Mistakes, $185. Currency exchange ripoff, SIM card scam, and other dumb tourist errors I made. That's $3,247 total. For comparison, I spent $1,950 for 7 days in Dubai last year doing similar activities. Qatar cost me 66% more than Dubai for what I'd argue is about 40% less to do. Now, before I get into the pros and cons, let me set expectations. Qatar is not a budget destination. Qatar is not a cultural immersion experience like Morocco or Egypt. Qatar is not an adventure travel destination. What Qatar is a modern, clean, safe, air-conditioned Middle Eastern experience for people who want comfort and convenience. If you understand that going in, you won't be disappointed. If you're expecting anything else, you will be. So let's talk about what worked and what didn't. Here's what exceeded my expectations. The food culture. And I'm not talking about the luxury restaurants or hotel buffets. I'm talking about the actual local food I discovered. That 25 riyals machboos at the tiny restaurant near the Gold Souk in Souq Waqif, better than any 80 riyals meal I had at a fancy restaurant. The karak chai for 5 riyals at the tea shop, the street shawarma, the hidden lunch specials at Villaggio Mall. Qatar's best food experiences are the cheap ones, and nobody tells you this. The travel videos all show you fine dining and hotel restaurants, but the real food culture is in the back alleys and local spots. And it's incredible. This genuinely surprised me. What else exceeded expectations? Souq Waqif at night. I went during the day with all the other tourists, and it was fine. Busy, hot, touristy. Then I went back at 7 p.m. and discovered the actual souk, the one where locals shop, where fabric stores only open after 6 p.m. because daytime is just tourists looking, where you can eat for $7 instead of $30, where you can have real conversations with shop owners like Mohammed, who taught me about pearl diving history. This was my favorite experience in Qatar, and it cost almost nothing. If you skip Souq Waqif at night, you're missing the only truly authentic cultural experience Doha offers. The metro system also exceeded expectations. After that embarrassing $73 taxi ride on day 1, I discovered the Doha metro is actually fantastic. Clean, fast, air-conditioned, costs almost nothing. 6 riyals from the airport to anywhere in the city. It's genuinely one of the best metro systems I've used anywhere. If you're staying in West Bay or near the Corniche, you can do most tourist activities via metro and save a fortune on transportation. Now let's talk about what disappointed me. And this is the brutally honest part. The Pearl. I spent 48 hours there because everyone said it's a must visit. And by hour 36, I was bored. It's beautiful, yes. It's clean and well designed, but it's also completely artificial and empty during the day. The restaurants are overpriced, the shopping is stuff you can get anywhere, and the whole place feels like a very expensive Instagram backdrop. My honest verdict on the Pearl? Visit for 3 to 4 hours max. Walk the marina, grab a coffee in Canat Cartier, take your photos, and leave. Don't stay overnight. Don't eat every meal there. It's not worth the premium prices. This was my biggest disappointment because everyone hyped it up, and it just felt hollow. Banana Island also disappointed me relative to the cost. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful resort. The overwater villas are stunning. The beach is perfect. But a night in an overwater villa costs over $1,000. $1,000 for basically a nice hotel room with a glass floor. Yes, it's peaceful and luxurious, but unless you're celebrating something major like a honeymoon or anniversary, I can't justify recommending it. The day pass is a better option. You get access to the beach and pools for a fraction of the cost. And honestly, that's 80% of the experience anyway. The luxury hotel experiment was probably my biggest learning moment. I paid $600 for one night at the St. Regis, thinking luxury hotels are worth it for special occasions. And you know what? I slept the same number of hours as I did in the $30 hostel. The $600 hotel was objectively nicer, obviously, but was it 20 times nicer? Not even close. Maybe 3 times nicer in terms of actual functional improvement. The rest of that $570 difference was just paying for the brand and the feeling of staying somewhere expensive. And here's the thing, I spent 8 hours total in that room. 8 hours. That's $75 per hour for marble floors and a view I barely looked at. Meanwhile, the $30 hostel gave me sleep, a shower, and I met interesting travelers and had actual experiences. The value proposition of luxury hotels in Qatar is broken unless you're very wealthy or it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Let's talk about the heat, because this is important. I visited in summer. Big mistake. Qatar in summer is not just hot, it's dangerously hot. I tried to walk 45 minutes from my hotel to the Pearl one morning, and by minute 30, I genuinely thought I might pass out. A kind Qatari man stopped and offered me water and told me, "Nobody walks here in summer," and he was right. From May through September, Doha is not a walking city. You move from air-conditioned space to air-conditioned space. This fundamentally changes how you experience the city. You can't just wander. You can't explore on foot. Everything requires planning around transportation. If you're visiting Qatar, come between October and April when the weather is pleasant. Summer Qatar is a completely different, much more limited experience. Here's another thing that surprised me. The $50 budget desert safari was better than the $500 luxury one. Yes, you read that right. The luxury safari was objectively higher quality. Private guide, better food, longer camel ride, beautiful setup. But the budget safari was more fun. I met people, shared experiences, laughed with strangers, ate cheap shawarma together afterward. The luxury safari was peaceful and beautiful, but I was alone the whole time. And for 10 times the price, isolation and quiet isn't worth it for most people. This taught me that in Qatar, the expensive version isn't always the better experience. Sometimes the cheap version gives you more actual value. Now let's address who should actually visit Qatar. If you're a business traveler with a long layover, Qatar is perfect. It's clean, safe, modern, easy to navigate, and there's enough to do for a day or two. If you have a stopover, absolutely explore Doha. If you love modern architecture and want to see futuristic urban design, Qatar delivers. The skyline is impressive, the buildings are stunning, the city planning is world-class. If that's your thing, you'll enjoy it. If you want a safe, comfortable Middle Eastern experience without the chaos of Cairo or the overwhelming scale of Dubai, Qatar is a good middle ground. It's Middle East light, modern, clean, organized, and accessible. But here's who should skip Qatar, or at least lower expectations. If you're on a budget, Qatar will drain your money fast. I spent over $3,000 in 7 days, and I was being relatively careful. If you're backpacking or budget traveling, there are way better options in the region. If you want authentic, raw cultural experiences, Qatar is too polished. The culture here is presented in museums and heritage sites, not lived in the streets. It's curated, not organic. If you've already been to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, Qatar feels very similar but with less to do. It's basically the same experience at a higher price point with fewer attractions. Here's my brutally honest verdict. Is Qatar worth visiting? Yes, but with major conditions. It's worth visiting if you have 4 to 5 days max, not 7. It's worth visiting if you have at least $400 to $500 per day to spend comfortably. It's worth visiting if you come between October and April when the weather is pleasant. It's worth visiting if you treat it as a stopover destination, not a primary vacation spot. It's worth visiting if you focus on the cheap, authentic experiences like Souq Waqif at night and local food, not the luxury stuff. It's worth visiting if you don't expect it to be as exciting as Dubai or as cultural as other Middle Eastern countries. But here's what I wish someone had told me before I came. Qatar is best experienced in small doses. 3 to 4 days is the sweet spot. By day 5, I'd seen everything worth seeing and was just spending money to fill time. The best experiences in Qatar are the cheap ones. Souq Waqif at night, local food spots, the metro, walking the Corniche. The expensive experiences, the Pearl, Banana Island, luxury hotels, they're fine but not worth the premium. Skip summer entirely unless you enjoy moving between air-conditioned bubbles. Come in winter when you can actually walk around and explore. Lower your expectations for cultural immersion. This is modern Qatar, not traditional Arabia. It's polished and comfortable, not raw and authentic. Would I come back to Qatar? Honestly, probably not as a primary destination. If I had another long layover, sure, I'd explore Doha again. But would I plan a dedicated trip back? No. There are too many other places I haven't seen yet, and Qatar doesn't have enough depth to justify a return visit for me. That said, I don't regret coming. I learned a lot, made some videos, discovered some hidden gems like Souq Waqif at night and the local food culture. But I also spent $3,247 when I could have spent half that in Oman or Jordan and had richer experiences. Here's my final recommendation based on everything I learned. If you're planning to visit Qatar, do this. Book 3 to 4 days maximum. Visit October through April only. Stay in West Bay or near the Corniche in a mid-range hotel, around $100 to $150 per night. Use the metro for everything possible. Eat at local spots, not tourist restaurants. Do Souq Waqif at night, not during the day. Skip the Pearl overnight, just visit for a few hours. Skip Banana Island unless it's a special occasion or you get a day pass. Do the budget desert safari, not the luxury one. Visit the Museum of Islamic Art, but remember the dress code. Walk the Corniche at sunset. Try machboos, lukaimat, and karak chai at local spots. And most importantly, don't expect Qatar to be something it's not. It's a modern, comfortable, safe city with some cultural elements. It's not a cultural immersion destination. It's not a budget destination. It's not an adventure destination. Accept it for what it is and you'll enjoy it. So there you have it. 7 days, $3,247, and my brutally honest opinion. Qatar is worth visiting with the right expectations and budget, but it's not the transformative travel experience some people claim it is. It's a pleasant, modern, expensive Middle Eastern city with some nice experiences and a lot of overpriced tourist traps. Come if you want comfort and convenience. Skip if you want culture and adventure. And whatever you do, don't walk 45 minutes in the summer heat. Just don't. If you found this honest review helpful, drop a like. If you disagree or have had a different experience in Qatar, tell me in the comments. I want to hear other perspectives. And subscribe if you want more brutally honest travel content that tells you what it's actually like, not just the Instagram version. Next video? See you there.